Hey, how you doing? I'm Hoopie, your host, one of them brothers from Inglewood podcast, coming to you live and direct once again. It is a pleasure to meet you at your point of need. Hopefully, you'll do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, ring the notification button so that you will be abreast as to when we're airing fresh and new content. Listen, I'm excited. Not only has this been a great weekend, we are here today on Memorial Day, celebrating and commemorating so many great people who have attributed to where we are right now. And this kind of leads me into what I'd like to talk about today, simply because it should be about family, it should be about culture, it should be about tradition and things that would unify us. And so it has really been on my mind, on my heart, and many of us, we talk around it, we walk by it, we don't really get in depth with some of the things that really are triggers for us. And so hopefully today this will open up and start the beginning of some much needed dialogue. I just, for some reason, it has been behooving. It has been sort of mind-boggling as it relates to why we're not getting along as people, as a race, as a culture, as an ethnicity. And then more importantly, we're not getting along as family members. It's so, I would say, disturbing to see that we as brothers, sisters, mother, father, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins are not actually on the best of terms. We're not communicating. We're not discussing whatever the issues might be. We're not trying to reach resolve to try to find out how can we fix it? Can it be resolved? Can we reconcile and move forward? It seems like a lot of people are at a place where they don't care anymore. They don't have compassion towards each other. They're not really willing to even sort it out. It's almost like think what you want to think, say what you want to say, long as you're not crossing my path or, bringing, your drama to me, whatever. And to me, that doesn't necessarily bring solution. It doesn't fix the problem. And so I'm just kind of going to go on the deep end, and I'm going to talk about some of my fragmented relationships, broken relationships, relationships that I deem as unhealthy. They're not what I would like them to be. They're not where they should be. But at the same time, I'm willing to sit at the round table and talk about it, discuss it, apologize, bring resolve to a matter. And it may not get back to where we would like it to be, but at least that's a start. And I think people hide behind lies. They hide behind their own insecurities. They hide behind their truths. It's kind of cringing to hear people talk about their truth. Well, it's only one truth. And then, like the older generation would say, there's actually three truths. There's your truth, there's their truth, and it's God's truth. So at the end of the day, we cannot all be right. Someone has to be wrong. Someone has to sort of throw down the weapon. They have to kind of, get to a place where, they can actually talk about it. They can actually feel free to discuss matters If it upset you, hey, say it upset you. If it disrespected you, say it disrespected you. I can hear somebody say it now. And people know when they disrespect you. People know when they wrong. I think we know right and wrong, and we choose to do what's convenient for us. We choose to lean towards what makes us feel better about whatever it is we said or whatever it is we did. And so how do we reach a happy medium? How do we get to that place to where all parties involved can walk away and say, hey, I may not agree, but I'm not going to be disagreeable and create, this thing all over again. And so today I just want to talk to you just a little bit about, family dynamics. What are these dynamics really like? What does it consist of? How do we get to a place where we experience unification? Can we get to the place of unification? Because so many different things take place within the family structure, and then sometimes there's no family structure at all. Some people are in unique situations where they may not even know their biological parents. They may have not been raised or nurtured through a family of, I would say, bloodline. Maybe they were adopted. Maybe they were in foster homes. Maybe they were incarcerated most of their lives from adolescence to adulthood. So you have different variations, and this is trauma. These are things that need to be talked about. These are things that should be discussed. Some things need clinical assistance, where you are talking to a clinical therapist, a doctor, whether there are resources to sit down with psychologists or psychiatrists. But sometimes we have to go deeper. If it requires a deeper form of exercise, to take the layers off, we need to try and do that. And so what really has been impressed upon me, and that's been on my heart, is how to create healthy relationships or healthier relationships. There are some things that I remember from childhood that would have probably lingered on if I would have stayed in that child state of mind. If I hadn't matured through experience and through, probably resources, whether it was parental, coaching, organizational, educational. If I had not experienced those things, I probably would be holding things in my heart and holding things in the back of my mind that took place 20, 30, 40 years ago. And I think a lot of people deal with that. A lot of people have not allowed themselves to move on from where they used to be. Their happiest memories are in the past. Their most convenient and comfortable situations occurred in their past. Some in child age, others in teenage, young adult, wherever that may have been. That seems like the place that we drift to. That's our place of comfort. And I'm learning that we really cannot take full advantage of the present life that we're living if we're constantly living in the past. And so my relationships are important. The people that are in my life that I've chosen to be in my life and want to nurture those relationships and see those relationships grow, these are people to me that have been a significant part of my development. And I like to always think that they matter. These people are constantly and consistently on my mind. They're in my heart. They're people that I look forward to singing or talking to. And as I get older, I realize that friends, even family, relationships are far and in between. These relationships aren't healthy. These relationships are actually toxic. A lot of people are holding things against other people. They're going through the motions, they're functioning, but they're not really being honest. They're not really saying why they're distant, why they feel the way they feel, why they are still angry. They're not processing things correctly because it's more comfortable to hide it, to suppress it, to abandon it, whereas at certain times it just resurfaces. And I'm realizing that some of us are really victims of someone else's past or their trauma and their emotional state that just is triggered, and we find ourselves rehashing these things coming back up. And I hear it all the time. People should say, I don't want to talk about the past. The past is the past, or you bringing up this, that, and the other. It already happened. And that's true. These things have already happened. But the problem is the reason why we're not moving forward, the reason why we haven't got past anything is because we don't want to deal with what actually took place, what actually happened. Now, yeah, it's easy to just say, I'm going to forget about what you did to me, what you said to me, what happened in the past. You owe me money, or you didn't come through for me when I needed you. I was in a bad situation. You didn't come and see about me. You didn't call. And so we hold these things against each other without really communicating what actually took place. How are you going to be angry about something without knowing what actually happened? And I think even when we find out through that person what actually happened, we still don't want to forgive. We're still in a place where it's unforgivable. No, what you did to me, what you said about me, what you did to my kid, or what you did to my mother, or what you did is too devastating for me to want a relationship with you. And to me, that is really worth delving into, because some situations are unique, some situations are hard to deal with. But I think of St. Matthew chapter 6 verses 9 through 13. There is a particular passage that simply says, forgive us our debts as we forgive those who basically have offended us. Forgive us our debts as we forgive those, or the debtors that have perpetrated things against us. And so I'm just really at a place where I'm trying to figure out, how do we reach resolve? How do we get to the place where we're going to bury the hatchet? But before we bury the hatchet, we're going to talk about the hatchet. We're going to talk about the actual device that was used to harm us. How do we get to that place? And I think, it is hurting our potential. It's hurting our family. It's still in the bloodline. We're talking about ancestry situations that are still a part of our bloodline that we're holding on to, or that we're failing to acknowledge, so that we can, what I would consider as, denounce those things, so that they won't reappear, that they won't resurface, that they won't creep back up at a later time to destroy the relationship. And so when I think of how we were raised, and the culture, the environment, the things that were spoken over our lives, the things that were told to us, and how we were shaped and developed, it's some of these things are just not cool. A lot of these things are not personality. We do have personality disorders. We have situations such as that. But also, these are things that are cultural and traditional in our lives. And this is what we were made to think and made to believe. And I think we have to go back to that, demagnetize it, create something new, something fresh, and confront those things that we can move forward. It is sad, and I can talk about it. A lot of people won't talk about it, but it's sad that you can hold things against people when they're actually trying to get it right. They want to get it right with you, but you don't want to give them the opportunity to get it right. And that really stagnates progress all around the board, because someone goes to their grave wanting to reconcile, wanting to fix a matter, but didn't get that attitude or opportunity reciprocated. So now I'm not saying that they're not resting in peace, but that family dynamic or that situation still lingers, and that person is gone. Some of these people are deceased, 1 year ago, a month ago, 10 years ago, 25 years ago, and people are still holding on to what that person said or what that person did. What possibly can that deceased person do to change a situation that they're no longer here and a part of? But yet, we continue to bring it up. Well, my mother was this way. My father did me like this. My brother did me like this. And these people are dead and gone. But yet, we transfer this trauma and these emotions over to whoever will listen. From our children, to our relatives, to our friends, to our co-workers, to society. We get on mass media. A lot of these commentators I listen to, a lot of the writers, I understand that they have a job to do. I understand that controversy sells. But if you really listen to some of this stuff, this is the reason why it stays fresh. Words that we speak are life. The things that we utter from our lips, out of our mouths, into our ear gate, things that we see out of our eye gate, it has an effect. It has a serious effect on each and every one of us. And so we owe it to ourselves to seek out healthier lives, to seek out a healthier mental state, emotional state, and even spiritual state, so that we won't transfer this stuff into others and on to the next generation. It's natural to be angry. That's an emotion. It's natural to be upset, disappointed, to be frustrated, to have all these different emotions. But I think what becomes the problem is how we respond, how we act, how we, how this actually comes out of our lives into a practical application. And that's where the trouble is. And so my heart is heavy for children, for my children, for instance. I don't want my children to deal with emotional trauma and frustrations and anxieties that they have not been clear on, meaning they have not had a proper opportunity to process why they feel the way they feel, what was told to them to create, these type of situations. So when we look at that, we have to say to ourselves, what is the cause? Did this arise because of what I was told or what I experienced? And how was it explained to me? Why should I feel the way I feel? Is it right to feel this way? Is it not right to feel this way? I think children are misinterpreted. I think children are used. I think children are actually mistreated when parents, when guardians, when coaches, when relatives, or any other influential person in that child's life begin to morph them and create them in a way that's not going to prove to be healthy in the long run. And I'm saddened about it. I don't like to experience some of the things I've experienced through coaching, through mentoring, through parenting, and through those things that really take place that, we are responsible for, especially when you're talking about a young person. When you're speaking on behalf of youth, we are responsible for what we demonstrate to them, what we show them, what we teach them, what we say to them, and how we actually handle them. And I never wanted to be in a position where I'm not communicating with family. I'm not communicating with loved ones, my children, or my colleagues, or my peers, my friends. I don't know. It's not a comfortable position for me. I think, many of you that know me, I am a people person. Although, I have boundaries. I have, actually, come to a place where I choose my environments. I choose the company I keep. But at the same time, I'm open. I'm flexible. It's just certain things that I don't have to receive. I don't have to position myself to be in a situation that will prove to be toxic. So, relationships today need work. Marriages are falling apart. Romantic relationships are falling apart. Social relationships, friendships, a lot of things through our interaction, it's just not healthy. It's not coming together. I don't believe God is pleased, and I don't believe that you're pleased. And for you to say, hey, I'm cool if I don't have any friends, nobody come around, blah, 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 it's not true, because at some point you may not be around people you grew up with. You may not be around familiar communities and areas that you know about, but you're going to meet and you're going to interact with someone, even in the new place. If you've moved away, if you're in a community where you don't know anybody, you're going to eventually meet someone. And so you're right back in the fundamental circle of developing or not having sound relationships. And so I wanted to speak to that, and hopefully you'll give us some feedback, put it in the chat, give us information, counter what we're saying so that we can all get a better understanding moving forward. So this will be a worthwhile journey together. Thank you so much again. I'm going to ask if you would like, subscribe, share, ring the notification button. This episode is coming to a stop, and we're looking forward to presenting once again. Take care. See you.